Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone's having a lovely Saturday morning like I am this morning. Got a whole bunch of cleaning and reorganizing done in my craft room and feeling refreshed and ready to go for the weekend. And yeah, so I have 3 journals for you. This is just going to be a flip through, and I always say that they're going to be not so chatty, but they end up being sort of chatty, especially when I'm going through three journals, so you know, bear with me. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. So these journals I've been working on all week. You've seen some previews on Instagram and in my stories and stuff. I've just been so in love with these. I was really feeling like just colorful and like rainbows in my brain, and like I don't know, I just really wanted to play with like a lot of colorful, fun, bright things that I have, and a lot of like little floral like rosette things that you'll see inside. And so this is what I came up with. I think I'm trying to create things that sort of match my mood lately, because I've been in a really good mood and feeling really good. So it kind of came out in these journals with this sort of like bright, happy, rainbow bright vibe that is going on here. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you. Let's see, these two are very similar, so I will start with the different one first and then move on to these. So I already just took the ribbon off of this one, but it's got a ribbon like this. I'm gonna set these aside. So this one, just a variety of different textiles and things as usual. This is some French bark cloth here, and this is some sari trim that I kind of cut, and a big applique, and yeah, just a lot of fun little bits. This is my favorite part here, this colorful little ribbon. And this is the back. This is some recently thrifted fabric that I found, and I just love the way it looks. And especially if you cut your fabrics the right way, when you look at the pattern, like for example, when I cut this one, you want to cut it so that like, so that's just a little pocket, and then in here is just a tag. So I pretty much always have like a tag or something in a pocket in my journals. I try to like always have something fun to pull out and look at. And so this is some Ruby and Pearl digitals. I don't recall from what kit, and I just put a little tab here. I've been using my tab dies. Let me see if I can find them. I have a lot of these little like tab dies, which are really cool, and I don't utilize them enough, and so I busted these out and created a little tab with an eyelet just to kind of do a different tag. So that goes in there. Little tabs here, little star charm. Oops. And then this is just some of my favorite French ledger. This is from a telegram from one of my digital collections, and I printed it on this natural fiber paper, so you can kind of see some little speckles here. This is a really nice paper to write on. And that's another thing I want to mention about these is I tried to make them like more writing friendly. I didn't want to go overboard with decoration, but there are vintage bits and journaling cards and things like that. This is a vintage lined paper. I'm not sure what this is for, like from a school notebook or something. But that's some really nice vintage paper for you to use. This is some coffee dyed paper, beautiful ruffle here. Love the colors on this one. This, I wish I had more of this one, but I just thought it went really nicely with the cover here. This is a digital stamp or just a digital image that I printed on vintage resume paper. So it's like this sort of ivory or cream colored resume paper, and it's a really nice thickness, probably really nice to write on too. I haven't tried writing on it myself. But so I just put this here sort of to frame this page, and then you can do some writing here. And you can sort of see the watermark. I don't know if in the video you can, but there's a watermark in here. And then just a little half sheet of some French like letterpressed paper. You can see sort of like the embossing on this paper. It's just really nice. And then some vintage wallpaper, cabbage dyed paper, another little tab. So the colors on this one is like pinks and blues, like pinks and teals, kind of like this ruffle and the cover. And another ruffle here, and I love this little trim. How cute! Just love all these colorful little trims that I've recently gotten. This is a digital image from one of Sheena Lunarosu's kits, and then another digital from somebody on Etsy. So I just printed it double-sided. So lots of journaling space here. Like this would look really cool if you wrote just all in here around the floral maybe. And then here's plenty of room here for something. This is some vintage ledger with a little Victorian die cut and a little scrap of a French envelope that I had. And then here, this is vintage French wallpaper, and I just covered this pocket with that. And then I've got some journaling cards in here. So these are little samples. The digital is images of a French textile sample book. So I sized them down to kind of like journaling card size, and I aged them, and you can write on the back. You could cut these images out and use them in collage. That would be cool. But yeah, so just some little journaling cards for you there. And then a vintage letterhead receipt thing. So that goes in here. This is some French ledger. And then some Botanical Pages. I always like to choose these really nice Botanical Pages. I have some books about English gardens from the 1800s, and so I've been using those quite a bit, and the paintings and the illustrations of these gardens are so gorgeous. And then this is a digital from Ruby and Pearl. It's Miss Lily Elsie, and each book has one of her in a little pocket like this. And then there's just some French pages tucked in. So this is from a French agenda, and this is some little something French, really cute and pink. And then this is a Victorian die cut, vintage wallpaper, and just other little bits to kind of frame her and make her look even more gorgeous than she is. This is a receipt from Heather at Ruby and Pearl's French receipts kit that she recently came out with. And so I've been printing her receipts on vintage business paper, and if you can see, there's sort of like a grain. I'm using my new camera, and I don't know if I'm actually in or out of focus here, but there's a sort of a grain to this paper, and when I print these on this paper, I feel like it looks almost like the original, like what the original paper would have looked and felt like, if that makes any sense. Almost even better than the original, because it's just so bold and so clear. And I'm sure that's because Heather probably went in and adjusted everything to make it print so nice and crisp and clear. So I just love that. So there's that. Some more cabbage dyed paper. This is just a little tag I made. I like to kind of go over vintage wallpaper with little accents like paint, and these are little pearl drop paints and stuff, just to add like a dimension to the wallpaper. Even though it's already a really nice texture, I just kind of add something extra and shiny to it. It's just like an extra thing to look at. And then just some little French bits here. And then in here, this is an envelope I made out of vintage ledger. I just used my envelope board and made this, and it was just to tuck in some little journaling cards. Here's one. That's from one of Sheena's kits. So just extra journaling space. This is a graphic from the Graphics Fairy, and I printed it on that business paper as well. And I printed it just small enough that it would fit in here. It almost looks like a piece of stationery, which is really pretty, and it prints beautifully again on this vintage business paper. So this is a really nice little journaling card, and you have a lot of space there. So just lots of florals, lots of pretty pink things, and you know, vintage wallpapers and French things, the usual. This paper here is from a vintage scrapbook that was unused. So it was the type of scrapbook where you would glue your photo corners in and put photos and that kind of thing. I used the paper as a page. So this page folds out, and on the fold part here, I used the back of a vintage envelope to stick a journaling card in, so it's a little tuck spot. And then I had this little blank space here, so I added some vellum, and this vellum is, it looks like rose or like petals, like flower petals in the vellum. And so I just put a little piece here, and you've got a little tag that you can tuck in there, and that's an original vintage tag. And then another large tag here. So just some vintage wallpaper and textiles, French things, some paint. The base is ruby and pearl digital, and I just did some little pearly drops here, and I just think that looks so pretty. So just a little fun tag for you to use. And then this is just a piece of sort of like a lace, and I just put it in as a page and layered it over this paper here, which is from a rose book, a book about different types of roses, and I just cut it so it's almost like a little envelope sort of thing, but just a really big image of roses. So you can cut this up if you like. You can cut out these little squares, and then it also looks really nice just layered over the avocado dyed paper like that. And then a little sari tab here. This one's a beautiful jeweled one. Some more French ledger. And in here is just a little library card that I altered. I just had these little die cuts laying around on my desk from another project, so I just put them together here like as a little tab. That goes right in here. And then this is just a little angel tab for the page, so it makes it easier to turn. And then this gorgeous vintage postcard, one of my favorite things to include for my collection, gorgeous rose and floral vintage postcards, and some paper, vintage writing paper. So I hope you feel that this is more journaling friendly, and I didn't go crazy decorating it. There's so much that you can do on top of all these papers. And then some more of that letter pressed paper. Another little tuck spot. This is a menu, a French menu that I just made into a little tuck spot, and let's see what's in here. Oh, this is a little airline tag. Just love the colors on this one. And this is an original, not a digital, this one. And a little brown envelope that you can use. And this is from a French school notebook about reptiles and amphibians, actually. So this is cool. Little half page here, and then another little tag using my tab dies to just do this little thing on the top. So just a cute little tag, and this is a vintage Denison label, and just some saber stamps. And another vintage postcard. This is an original, so there's 2 original vintage postcards in these journals to my sweetheart. I just like the colors on this, and I thought it looked nice against this digital stamp that I put up here. And then this is the back. This is some authentic French wallpaper from my collection that I digitized. And that is it for that one. So the other 2 are very similar, and I don't know if there's much I need to really like point out or talk about, so I'm gonna just go ahead and put music over the other 2 and try to speed them up a little bit. So it was nice talking to you guys, and thank you so much for watching. And these will be up in my shop hopefully sometime today, right when this video is out. So, all right, here's the other two.